5 dangerous Hells Angels reacting to serving life in prison. The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club is one of the most notorious and feared criminal organizations in the world, with their roots dating back to the late 1940s. They have been involved in a wide range of criminal activities, including drug trafficking, extortion, and murder. For years, they have operated with impunity, using their reputation and intimidation tactics to keep law enforcement at bay. But despite their notoriety, many members of the Hells Angels have found themselves on the wrong side of the law, facing serious charges and lengthy prison sentences. In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 Hells Angels who are now serving life in prison. From their initial reactions to the verdicts to their experiences behind bars, we'll explore what it's like to be a member of one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in the world, and what happens when the law finally catches up with you. So sit back, relax, and join us as we take a look at the lives of these 5 dangerous Hells Angels. Number 1. David Chellew. David Chellew, a member of the Hells Angels who was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for his involvement in the slayings of David Glasser, Edward Frampton, and Robert Chadwell. Today we'll be discussing the sentencing of Chellew, the judge's ruling on his sentence, and the nature of the crimes he committed. Along with Adam Lee Hall and Caius Veiovis, was convicted of first-degree charges for the brutal kidnapping, torture, and murder of 3 Pittsfield men in 2011. The victims were David Glasser, Edward Frampton, and Robert Chadwell, and they were tortured and mutilated before their bodies were disposed of in a wooded area in Beckett. David Chellew was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for his involvement in the slayings of the 3 Pittsfield men. This sentence was mandatory due to the first-degree conviction, and it recognizes the extreme atrocity and cruelty of the crimes he committed. The Hampton Superior Court Judge, C. Jeffrey Kinder, accepted the recommendation of Berkshire District Attorney David Kaplis to have the sentences run consecutively, recognizing the value of each victim and the severity of the crimes. The conduct of Chellew and his accomplices in the slaying of Glasser, Frampton, and Chadwell has been described as heinous, with witnesses providing chilling accounts of the torture and mutilation of the victims. The judge's unanimous verdict of the judge's ruling on the sentence reflects the gravity of the crimes and the severity of the punishment that Chellew deserves. Number 2. Jonathan Nelson. Jonathan Nelson, also known as John John, and Russell Taylor Ott, also known as Rusty, both from Santa Rosa, and Brian Wayne Went from Tulare, were found guilty of taking the life of one of their own members and engaging in a conspiracy to commit murder. The Hells Angels have a long and infamous history in the United States, with the Sonoma County Hells Angels Club forming in 1972. The club generates income from selling merchandise such as shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and other items featuring their logo. They've also sponsored toy drives for children, but the Department of Justice says that their criminal activities involve slayings, drug dealing, robbery, extortion, illegal possession of firearms, and obstruction of justice. The 8-year investigation into the Sonoma Club involved the Department of Justice, the Santa Rosa Police Department, and the California Highway Patrol. In 2017, 11 members of the Hells Angels were indicted for conspiracy, and Jonathan Nelson, Russell Taylor Ott, and Brian Wayne Went were all part of that sweep. They've been convicted of destroying Joel Silva, a member of the club who had been causing problems for the organization. According to federal prosecutors, Nelson arranged for Silva's murder with Ott. The incident took place in Fresno on July 15, 2014, when Ott drove Silva there under the pretense of needing to fight with the Fresno chapter's president, while Went was waiting to take Silva out. When they arrived, Went shot Silva in the head, and the next day, his body was incinerated at a local crematorium. The trial brought out other information about the Hells Angels Club in Sonoma, and all 3 defendants are now facing mandatory life sentences in prison. The DOJ says that the club's income comes from various sources, including drug trafficking, and they use violence and intimidation to protect their criminal enterprises. Number 3. Joseph Lancia. Joseph Lancia, the president of the Hells Angels in Rhode Island. Lancia was charged with several serious crimes, including felony and battery, carrying a gun without a license, discharging a firearm when committing a crime of violence, and invasion with the intent to commit a sling. In a recent hearing before Associate Justice Kristen Rogers, Lancia reached a deal with the prosecutors and pleaded no contest to the charge of felony and battery. While the more serious charges were dismissed, as part of the deal, Lancia was sentenced to serve 5 years in prison and placed on probation for 10 years. The main case against Lancia stems from an incident in June 2019, when police say he fired a gun at a truck driven by Richard Starnino, who was trying to join a rival biker club and was involved in an ongoing dispute with Lancia. Video surveillance from the Hells Angels Providence headquarters showed Lancia shooting at a truck as Starnino drove by. At the hearing, Lancia appeared with about a dozen members of the motorcycle club, all wearing their full patch jackets. Lancia must return to court to turn himself in, so he can begin his sentence at the adult correctional institutions in Cranston. Lancia's plea deal was seen as a favorable outcome for him, as he faced a maximum of 61 years in prison if he were found guilty at trial. However, Judge Rogers warned Lancia that if he violates the conditions of his release, she would send him to prison for the full 18-year sentence. In his statement during the hearing, Lancia expressed his acceptance of the sentence and the no-contact order for the protection of Starnino. Number 4. Adam Lee Hall. Adam Lee Hall, a notorious member of the Hells Angels, who is currently on trial for his involvement in the kidnapping, torture, and murder of 3 Pittsfield men during Hurricane Irene in 2011. Today we will be discussing the latest updates on the trial, including witness testimony, Hall's conviction, and the Supreme Judicial Court's ruling on his appeal. Along with his accomplices David Chalou and Caius Veovis, was convicted of first-degree charges in 2014 for the heinous crimes they committed. They were accused of kidnapping, torturing, and murdering 3 Pittsfield men, and then dismembering their bodies and burying them in Beckett. Hall was believed to be a ranking member of the local Hells Angels chapter, and his former girlfriend testified that he had 3 guns in his dog food bag on the night of the slayings. The trial of Adam Lee Hall was moved to Springfield from Berkshire County due to the high publicity surrounding the case. Witnesses have been taking the stand to testify against Hall, providing accounts of the brutal crimes he and his accomplices committed. The jury has heard chilling details about how victims were held captive, beaten, and killed before their bodies were disposed of in a wooded area. The Supreme Judicial Court upheld the 3 first-degree convictions of Adam Lee Hall and rejected his request for a new trial. This means that Hall is guilty of kidnapping, torturing, and murdering the 3 Pittsfield men, and he will serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. However, the court also ruled that Hall is not guilty of kidnapping one of the victims a year before the slayings. Number 5. Maurice Boucher. Maurice Boucher, one of the most feared and notorious Hells Angels leaders in Quebec. Maurice Mom Boucher was at the peak of his power as a Hells Angels leader. He was known as an intimidating crime boss in Quebec and was responsible for several heinous crimes that earned him a life in prison. Boucher was serving a life sentence for the 1997 slayings of prison guards Pierre Rondeau and Diane Levine during a period of gang violence in Quebec known as the Biker Wars. He was also charged with 2 accounts of first-degree murder, attempted slayings, and conspiracy to commit a slaying. During the Biker Wars, which lasted from 1994 to 2002, the Hells Angels and rival biker gangs were involved in a violent struggle for control of the drug trade in Quebec. This led to numerous slayings, bombings, and other violent incidents. One of the most heinous crimes that Boucher was associated with was the 1995 slaying of an 11-year-old Montreal boy, Daniel Darouche, who died in an explosion linked to the Biker Wars. This sparked widespread public outrage and led to numerous arrests of members of biker gangs across the province. Boucher suffered from throat cancer and refused to be treated for the disease for months. He was recently transferred from his super maximum security facility to another on the same property that could provide palliative care. He eventually passed away from natural causes at the age of 69. Despite his criminal activities, Boucher was a charismatic leader who commanded the respect and loyalty of his followers. He was known for his intelligence, cunning, and ability to intimidate others. He was a master at manipulating the media and was able to gain sympathy and support from some members of the public. Thanks for watching our video on 5 dangerous Hells Angels reacting to serving life in prison. We hope you found it insightful. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more true crime content. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.